Hey, what's happening? LionJudah.com. Today we're going to talk about nigger, racism, and the Constitution. And I want to start off first by saying our government has a history of saying don't do something. And then they turn around and do the very thing that they told you not to do. And an example of this would be Dr. Martin Luther King. Dr. Martin Luther King said, hey, I have a dream that people will judge each other by the content of their character and not the color of their skin. But then he says, hey, no, but I want to spend my life helping black people. And I want to lose, and ultimately lost his life for helping black people with civil rights. And civil rights has nothing to do with the content of your character. It has everything to do with your physical attributes. And that's why our country has stayed away from civil rights for so many hundreds of thousands of years, if you will, because civil rights is the devil's rights. Those are slave rights. And when we get to that element of, hey, that's what civil rights are. The civil warriors lost the Civil War because they were doing slavery. The people who wanted to do civil rights lost the Civil War. The black race lost the Civil War. That's when we come to the understanding that saying nigger is not racist. And I'm speaking to you from the leader of the white race standpoint. Saying nigger is not racist. In fact, infringing or denying another person who is not a communist, denying their freedom of speech to say nigger, that is racist. And it's one of those things where, what part of this don't you understand? If I'm a racial minority and you're holding me back from being free, racial minorities being the church and the state, the church versus the state, and you're of the state and you don't want me to say, and you're of the state and you don't want me to say nigger, that's racist. I'm of the church. Judge me by the kind of my character. That's what the whole Constitution was written for, to say, hey, look, we judge people by the content of our character here. This isn't something we just started when some black doctor walked in the room. We've been doing this. You just got here. So let me put this into context, just in case you use some recent happenings. Joe Rogan is a communist, and this means that he's not of the race of the white church. You understand? He's not of my race. He's not of the white church. This has nothing to do with his skin. Joe Rogan is a communist. He's a Catholic. He's raised a Catholic. He does lots of communist things and have his communist conversations. So him saying nigger, it's not racist. It's not racist if he directs it at niggers. Niggers are a real thing. This happens. This goes on. So NDRE is a communist, meaning again she's not of the white church, and meaning legally they are both niggers because they are the black race of communism. That's what a nigger is. A nigga is a communist. A nigga is Putin. A nigga is the president of Ukraine. These are communists. Nigga means you don't work for Christ. It has nothing to do with the color of your skin. It has absolutely nothing to do with it. So the legal idea that you can racially discriminate against a black communist, it's an absolute fallacy. It's a complete and total lie. It's one of the biggest lies told in this world. And when you have grown-ups like Joe Rogan and NDRE lying in the media about race, why? Why are they doing this? They should know better. They got money. Why are they doing this? They've been schooled, haven't they? Well, they're doing this to enslave your children. And this is what the black race of communism does. They do this by having your children embrace the logic of the Homo sapien evolution. This is the logic of the polite. And these two people are both high-ranking members of the polity that are spreading lies. And what is racist? What would actually be racist is if NDRE and Joe Rogan turn around and said they're going to stop me from saying nigger. That would be racist if they came to me and said that. Either one of them or either or. That because they're communists. And I am the white race of the church. I'm the church. There's no getting around that. I'm the body of the church. So, if they will come to me and say, hey, look, you said nigger too much. Not that I say nigger a whole lot, but some days it just rolls off my tongue right. And, but nonetheless, I would be defending myself and appropriately describing them legally of what they are, because that's what they are. And, our niggas been, our nation, I'm sorry, has been held back very niggerly, if you will, for the past 70 years for this whole argument right here that saying nigger is a bad word. And now, because of slavery and all of these things that happen, we have to infringe upon the racial minorities, the white people, the white race, I'm sorry, and start all of this ignorance where they're judging people by their color of their skin, which our Constitution, our Bible, everything, our Declaration of Independence, it says, hey, look, we don't do this. At least that's what they were not doing back in the day, because it's easier back in the 1800s and 1700s to say, hey, look, we're not going to worry about that kind of stuff, because there are not a whole bunch of distractions. So as distractions start to ramp up and technology gets better, the devil's able to sneak in and say, hey, look, no, let's do the exact opposite of what people should be doing. And that's what's going on now. And so the defining idea of race, what happens is that it speaks to a period right now in our government where the government has enslaved our country by going against the First Amendment. And the First Amendment says, hey, look, you have a freedom of speech, but also there's a mandate for a separation of church versus state. It's a very important part of freedom of speech and freedom in general, is that there's a separation between church versus state. So what happens is, over the years, the state church, they've stolen the influence over our country completely, resulting in a slave state of our country. It finds ourselves that black people are claiming racial oppression. Let me rephrase that. Black race communists are claiming racial oppression. And as a communist, how can you be discriminated against? But they not only do this, but they double down on this racism that these communists are doing. And then the black communists turn around and says, look, I'm the racial minority. Look at my skin color. And start all this jive talking and want to act like they want to get hostile about it. And it's one of those things, it's gotten so bad, it's leading to enslavement. That's the only place slavery comes from, is from the communist race, the black race. That's who's doing slavery, because we have two separate gods. The white race follows the race of Christ, and the black race follows Satan, or black Jesus for that matter, or black Satan, or black whoever, black Adam. They follow those guys. So this solution to this is really quite simple in this day and age, and it's to oust the black communist church from our country completely, once and for all. And this is not just suggested, but this is commanded in Revelations 9:2. And this is the whole point of our Constitution, so that the state church would never take over our country. And since the exact opposite has happened, we need to get rid of all the churches. Just say, hey, look, we throwing the towel. We don't have time to go and choose who's good and who's bad. Let's just burn them all down, like the Bible suggests. That's what the Bible suggests. I'm just telling you what the Bible says in Revelations 9:2, that, once the shaft of the abyss is uncovered, which is what I'm telling you, that we have people that are blatantly lying about their race. Blatantly. Everything that comes out their mouth regarding race is a lie. I listened to the State of the Union address on Monday. I had to take a day off, or Tuesday, whatever day that was. I had to take a day off because the lies were just flowing from Joe Biden so naturally, and he really seemed like he was he was really in a zone with lying. And that's something that we really have to say, hey, look, this has to stop. We can't let this state church, this man who follows the state church, he's a big follower of the state church, and his whole career revolves around the establishment of the state church, which is a problem for us who say, I love freedom. I'm here to do freedom. I just love everything about it. I love everything about the word of Christ. And there's somebody else at a state church saying, well, I see it differently. Well, our Constitution says you shouldn't even be here. Our government should not be helping you. They shouldn't be doing anything for you. Why are you here? What are you doing? So, because of this is the slavery that our country was supposed to be fighting against from 1776, and we fought this in 1776 and again in 1812 and later in the Civil War. And this is between the state church and the regular church. This is why we fight racial wars. This is what a race war happens when somebody from the state church has to get stepped to and by the church. This is what happened in World War I. This is what happened in World War II. And as I just explained, this is what happened in the Revolutionary War, the Civil War, and the War of 1812. Is that when the state church gets out of hand, the church has to step forward and smack the state church back into place. But this hasn't been happening because of this kind of culmination to the whole book of the Bible, that it plays into the technology of the day, and kind of this whole idea that we keep having to go through this cycle every 150 years with the big dog on the block, if you will. No matter if it was England, the state of England against Oliver Cromwell in the church back in the 1600s, or we're talking right now in 2000, where 400 years later, we're doing the same thing. We have the state church against needing to get put into check by the real church. And what happens is, we look in Revelations 9:2, it says, hey, look, we've got to get rid of them all. And getting rid of them all brings forth the army of salvation in Revelations 9:3, which is a very important part to starting up the apocalypse, the revelations, to getting to freedom, to getting to absolute and complete freedom, is that we bring forth my army. And my army, quite simply, it's in Revelations 9:3 that, hey, look, once we say, hey, look, enough is enough. We're tired of being slaves to the black race, because that's what they do. And they've gone so far as they've enslaved our school system. They've enslaved most of the churches around to preach their gospel. And we have to get rid of them and bring back an army of salvation to save us from the debt that the black race is incurring under guys like Joe Biden in Ukraine and Russia, and these things that just tax the world over and over again, from people just wanting to enslave one another and us being forced to defend ourselves over and over again. So, like I said, this is one of those things where we try to make the best out of a bad situation. So, hey, look, thank you for listening. Hope to see you soon on lionjudah.com.